Well, I'm sure Deshawn is tired of living in a fucking hotel room every single fucking day. I'm sure Deshawn wants to see and talk to his mother that he was taken from. I don't give a heck. I'm going to keep talking about this shit every single day. Now, I find it weird that Stephanie gets on here and pretends that Deshawn is his, like she says, this is my child, this, and the third. Mind you, his real mom is on this app and can see everything, but yet hasn't been able to talk to him in 3 fucking years. You get on this app, you call this child your own, you know he's not, and then you say that you're married to your man that you're with, but you're literally married to somebody else that's literally in jail. None of these children have ever lived in a stable home, and y'all don't see that?
I genuinely am asking because so many of you continue to talk about Deshawn's mom like there was any reason for her to be alienated from her son. If there was any actual concerns about who she was as a mother, why did they not go the legal route? Why did they not legally get her rights taken away? Why did they never speak to anybody to stop her from seeing her son? No, they just decided to alienate her completely, ignore her, not answer her door, ignore police, all of that. You guys are not understanding. This is not people trying to save Deshawn. These are people who are keeping him away from her mother just to be petty and to be jerks.
Tomorrow, Desiree and Drew will be going to court in regards to custody for Deshawn. Desiree filed for 50-50 custody. State of Oregon, you have to go to a parenting class and mediation. Drew and Desiree were supposed to go to mediation the other day. Drew did not show up. Drew also did not do his parenting courses, and Desiree did her parenting courses. I have a good feeling that Drew isn't going to show up. He didn't show up to court with our Lita about child support. His consequence was the warrant.
I believe the warrant was still active, and he just pretended like he went to the courthouse to clear up the whole warrant situation. That paperwork, I believe it was really fake. I think he just said, oh, I'm getting my license reinstated, and the warrant's gone, just so people would stop being like, oh, you're driving on a suspended license, Drew, and people would shut up about the whole warrant situation. He has for 50-50 custody of Deshawn. I really believe she's going to get it.
Court is at 10 a.m.
Let's talk about Deshawn, a young boy caught in the middle of something no child should ever have to experience: being separated from his mother, denied love and connection, and used as a pawn in a very messy and painful game between adults. At the center of it all, a woman named Stephanie, known to many on TikTok, and her partner Drew. But what's really going on here? Is this about love and protection? Is it about control, insecurity, and something even more dangerous, parent alienation? And the worst part, it's not just hurting Deshawn, it's shaping who he becomes. Let's break this down from the very beginning, piece by piece. From everything we've seen and learned, it's very clear that Stephanie is the central reason Deshawn no longer has a relationship with his real mother, Desiree. The breakdown did happen overnight. It was slow, calculated, and intentional. Before Stephanie ever stepped into Deshawn's life, Deshawn still had contact with his mom. It wasn't a perfect setup, but there was consistency. There was at least some form of shared parenting. Deshawn was allowed to visit his mom. He had phone calls with her. They saw each other regularly. There may have been some tension between Drew and Desiree, but they managed to put their son first. There was an effort, at least some attempt, to make sure he didn't lose either parent. But the effort disappeared the moment Stephanie came into the picture. It was like a switch was flipped. As soon as she became part of the household, Deshawn's connection to his mother was cut. It started with little things, missed calls, rescheduled visits. Then it turned into ignored messages, closed doors, visits that went unacknowledged. Desiree would physically come to see her son and nobody would answer the door. Nobody would come out. They acted like she no longer existed. They erased her slowly, piece by piece, until Deshawn no longer had access to the one person who gave him life. It didn't matter how many times she tried, no response, no communication. They completely shut her out. And now 3 years have gone by, 3 full years where Deshawn hasn't had a single hug from his mother. 3 years without hearing her voice. No phone calls, no text messages, not even a glimpse of her through a window. Just silence.
Just a question for you perfect parents in the back that seem to think that nobody has ever made a mistake in their life. How did you become so perfect? I genuinely am asking because so many of you continue to talk about Deshawn's mom like there was any reason for her to be alienated from her son. If there was any actual concerns about who she was as a mother, why did they not go the legal route? Why did they not legally get her rights taken away? Why did they never speak to anybody to stop her from seeing her son? No, they just decided to alienate her completely, ignore her, not answer her door, ignore police, all of that. You guys are not understanding. This is not people trying to save Deshawn. These are people who are keeping him away from her mother just to be petty and to be jerks. Stephanie is insecure and doesn't want his mother around. That's all this is. Deshawn has no reason to not be around his mother. No matter what you want to pull up from her past, she has a place to stay. He has a room there. She has a full-time job. What else do you want? There's another child there. She has a partner. She should be allowed to see her son. At a minimum, she should have never stopped being allowed to see her son. I don't care who the hell you are, but children are not pawns. I will say it again for you in the back. Children are not pawns in your games that you play. Free Deshawn. Period, point blank. And Stephanie, he is not your son. Stop calling him your son. Enough is enough. Grow up.
That's not a coincidence. That's not co-parenting. That's deliberate alienation. That's emotional harm, and it's being done to a child who has no power to stop it. Imagine being that child, watching the door every day, hoping it will open, hoping your mother will walk in, but instead, she never comes, not because she doesn't want to, but because she's being kept away, and you don't even know it. So what does life look like for Deshawn now? Well, it's far from fair. Deshawn now lives in a cramped, run-down, one-room motel with Stephanie, Drew, and multiple other children. 7 people packed into one space, no privacy, no structure, no routine. It's not a home, it's survival. Children need stability, safety, and care, but Deshawn is growing up surrounded by stress, tight quarters, and emotional neglect. Before Stephanie showed up, things weren't ideal, but they were better. Deshawn and his dad lived in an apartment. He had his own space, even if it was small. He had room to grow, to think, to rest. He had scheduled visits with his mom, Desiree. There was balance. He may not have had a perfect childhood, but he had love from both parents. He had a relationship with his mom that was grounded him. Now, all of that is gone, and not just physically, but emotionally too. He lives in a place where every day feels like a reminder that he's not truly cared for. There is no quiet moment where he can just be a kid. There is no space for him to feel safe or important. And what makes it worse? Deshawn has to sit back and watch Stephanie's biological children get everything he doesn't. They get affection, they get hugs and kisses, they get their mother's full attention. He watches them sit on her lap, hear her laugh, see her smile just for them. But he doesn't get that. Instead, he sits with the absence of his own mom and wonders why he's the only one left out. It's not just painful, it's damaging. It sends a message to Deshawn that he doesn't matter the same way, that he doesn't deserve love, and children who grow up feeling that way start to carry shame, confusion, and sadness deep inside. We've seen how Stephanie treats her own children, and it's not gentle. In one clip, her daughter approached her during a live video, just wanting to sit beside her. She wasn't asking to be in the spotlight, she just wanted to be near her mom, but Stephanie pushed her away again and again. Her daughter tried to explain softly that she could sit off camera and not disturb anything, but Stephanie refused. The little girl walked away, shoulders down, face low, the kind of disappointment that no child should feel, especially not from a parent. And that's her biological daughter.
Clothing, so I guess she is pretty big. Sophie.
Can I hang out with you for a little? Promise I won't be in the video.
It's not about that. If I'm just gonna sit here and conversate with you, then I'm gonna have to just turn it back off.
You can still talk to your video.
It's not about that, Eddie. You and your sister need to go find something to do. Go play or go back inside. Here to cook breakfast on there and get it done at a decent time instead of the one burner situation. What's up, baby girl?
Are you done making videos yet?
Not quite yet. Look, her hair's getting pretty long. Her hair's growing faster than Bubba's.
That's cool.
She looks a ton like you.
At least can you continue your videos?
It's funny how you guys don't ever care that I'm doing something with my phone, except when it's online.
You continue the video, but can we stay here with you?
Nope, I'll go ahead and turn it off.
What?
Yep.
Why?
Because
So if she can dismiss her own child so easily, imagine how she might treat Deshawn, who isn't hers by blood. The answer is heartbreaking. Stephanie's home is not a safe or nurturing environment for Deshawn. He is not just living in physical overcrowding. He's emotionally starved. No child should have to live like that. Sometimes the signs are small, but they hurt the most. In multiple videos, we've seen Deshawn being treated like an outsider in the very home he lives in. He doesn't just get food last, he waits while everyone else is ready eating. Sometimes he's not even called until everything else has been served. It's a small action, but it speaks volumes. He's also the only child we've noticed with visible back bites on his arms, bites that look irritated and left untreated. While the other kids seem relatively clean and attended to, Deshawn walks around with marks that show a lack of basic care. And then there's his birthday, a moment that should have been filled with joy and celebration. Instead, he got a simple bed decoration, nothing more, no balloons across the ceiling, no lights, no wrapped gifts that said, "We love you," just a little display on the bed, and that was it. Then, just 1 week later, his sibling had a birthday, and the difference was impossible to ignore. Full room decorations, balloons in every corner, lights, a celebration that screamed, "You matter." To adults, these moments might seem minor. A decoration here, a plate of food there, but to a child like Deshawn, they're everything. Children are incredibly perceptive. They know when they're being treated differently. They feel it in the pit of their stomach. They carry it in their hearts, and they remember. Deshawn isn't just feeling left out, he's being shown again and again that he's not valued the same, that he doesn't belong like the others, and that his needs and moments of joy matter less. And that message, repeated in subtle, consistent ways, begins to plant seeds of unworthiness. It tells him he's not as important, it makes him question his worth, and that kind of emotional harm doesn't just disappear, it lingers, it grows, and it shapes the way he sees himself for years to come. No child should have to grow up thinking they're less lovable or less important, and yet that's the silent message Deshawn is receiving every single day. Let's talk about Drew, Deshawn's biological father, the one person who should be standing up for him, protecting him, and making sure his emotional and physical needs are met. The one who should be doing everything in his power to make up for the absence of Deshawn's mother by being twice as present, twice as loving, twice as engaged. But sadly, that's not what's happening. Drew doesn't act like a present, caring father. He doesn't create meaningful moments with Deshawn. He doesn't spend one-on-one time with him. There's no bonding, no father-son days, no trips to the park, no bedtime stories, no real conversation, even moments that should be filled with care, like a dentist appointment. Drew is physically distant. He sat across the room, recording the visit for content, not connection. Instead of holding Deshawn's hand or comforting him, he was more concerned with how the moment looked online. And it doesn't stop there. Even in the rare times Drew takes Deshawn somewhere, he brings the other children too. There's no space carved out for just Deshawn, no private time to talk or bond, no effort to make him feel special. Everything is shared, diluted, and in many ways ignored. We even saw one instance where Drew posted about a dental visit, and while Deshawn sat nervously in the chair, one of the older siblings sat in the front seat of the car, loosely backward. The whole scene felt chaotic, rushed, and completely void of any warmth or focus on Deshawn's well-being. It's heartbreaking, because this boy already doesn't have a mother in his life right now. The one woman who raised him, who gave him life, has been blocked from seeing him, and the one parent who's still there, he barely acknowledges him. He's there in the room, but he's not present in the ways that matter. Deshawn doesn't just need a roof over his head or food on the table. He needs someone to look him in the eye and say, "I see you, I love you, I'm proud of you." Right now, he's not getting that from Drew. And no child should have to live in the shadow of their parents' distractions or emotional absence.
Well, I'm sure Deshawn is tired of living in a fucking hotel room every single fucking day. I'm sure Deshawn wants to see and talk to his mother that he was taken from. I don't give a heck. I'm going to keep talking about this shit every single day. Now, I find it weird that Stephanie gets on here and pretends that Deshawn is his, like she says, "This is my child, this, and the third." Mind you, his real mom is on this app and can see everything, but yet hasn't been able to talk to him in 3 fucking years. You get on this app, you call this child your own, you know he's not, and then you say that you're married to your man that you're with, but you're literally married to somebody else that's literally in jail. None of these children have ever lived in a stable home, and y'all don't see that? And a lot of y'all can relate and are butthurt because y'all picked the wrong baby daddy. And y'all will forever hold a man above your children every single time. Say whatever you want, but a man could never, ever, 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 ever in a million years come before my children. And I would never in a million years pick living in a motel over taking them somewhere where they would be stable at. Oh, and free Deshawn.
He's not getting that from Drew. And no child should have to live in the shadow of their parents' distractions or emotional absence. Stephanie claims she's doing her best, that she's giving Deshawn what he needs, that she's being a mom to him. She says she provides food. She says he has clothes. She says he has a roof over his head. But parenting isn't just about basic survival. It's not just about making sure a child eats or sleeps under shelter. It's about connection, love, presence. It's about looking your child in the eyes and making them feel seen and heard. It's about being emotionally available, not just physically present. From what we've seen, publicly and repeatedly, Stephanie isn't offering any of that, not even to her own kids, and clearly not to Deshawn. When her own daughter approached her during a live stream, all she wanted was a few seconds of attention to sit quietly beside her mother off camera, and even that was too much for Stephanie. She dismissed her multiple times. She prioritized an audience of strangers over the emotional needs of her child. If this is how she treats her biological children, then what chances does Deshawn have? He's not even hers. He doesn't share their blood. He's the child of another woman, a woman Stephanie seems determined to erase, and the damage this emotional neglect is causing, it's showing in every way. Deshawn isn't just missing hugs or bedtime stories. He's missing warmth. He's missing someone who lights up when he walks into a room. He's missing the soft touches, the nurturing words, the sense of being treasured. He's missing emotional. He's missing kindness. He's missing care. And without these things, no child can truly thrive. Deshawn is not just surviving. He's quietly suffering. And the saddest part is the people responsible either don't see it or they just don't care. Now, let's shift the lens and talk about Desiree, the mom who everyone keeps blaming, criticizing, and silencing without knowing the full story. Stephanie and Drew have worked overtime trying to paint her as the villain. They have tried to brand her as someone who ran away, someone who gave up on her child, someone who didn't care. They have pushed a narrative that she was irresponsible, neglectful, and unworthy of being her son's life. But when you take a closer look, when you actually look at the facts, you realize their version of the story doesn't hold up. Desiree didn't abandon Deshawn. She didn't run. She didn't disappear. She made a painful, deeply selfless. She knew her environment at the time wasn't stable. She was going through hardships. She was trying to get back on her feet, and because she loved her son so much, she did what she thought was right. She asked Drew, the child's father, to take care of Deshawn temporarily just until she could provide a better life for him. She didn't hand him off and vanish. She stayed involved. She made every effort to visit. She called. She kept trying. She showed up over and over again because she never stopped being his mother, but instead of being supported in her effort to rebuild, she was shut out. Stephanie and Drew didn't just limit contact, they erased it. They stopped answering calls. They didn't open the door. When she came by, they made it impossible for her to even hear her son's voice. She didn't choose distance. She was forced into it. This isn't abandonment. This is being pushed away intentionally, forcefully, and unjustly. And it's important we say that out loud, because for 3 years, Desiree has been cast as the enemy in the story, where all she ever wanted was to come back for her child. Here's what's important to understand. If Stephanie and Drew had truly believed that Desiree was a danger to Deshawn, if they genuinely thought she was unfit to be in his life, they had a clear legal option available to them. They could have gone to court. They could have filed for full custody. They could have presented their concerns, brought forward any evidence they had, and asked a judge to make a ruling. But they didn't, and that speaks volumes. Why didn't they pursue the legal route? Why didn't they ask the court to step in? It's simple. They knew they wouldn't win. They knew the facts weren't on their side. They knew that a courtroom with real rules and real consequences would expose the truth. That Desiree wasn't the villain they were trying to make her out to be. Instead of following on the paper process, they took matters into their own hands. They didn't consult a lawyer. They didn't speak to the judge. They didn't even try to mediate. They just took Deshawn quietly, permanently, without permission, without explanation. They cut off all communication, shut Desiree out, and acted like she didn't exist. That's not co-parenting. That's not responsible. That's not legal. That's emotional kidnapping. That's manipulation. That's alienation, and it's wrong. Now, things are finally changing. Desiree is fighting back, and she's doing it the right way. Through the legal system, she's providing evidence, she's showing the judge that she's stable, employed, and capable of caring for her son. She's bringing the receipts that prove she never gave up on Deshawn, and Stephanie and Drew, they were, and they should be. Because now they can't hide behind blocked numbers and closed doors. Now there's paperwork, there's hearing, there is accountability. And most importantly, there's hope. Hope that Deshawn will finally get the chance to rebuild the bond with his mother. Hope that he'll get to hear her voice again, feel her hugs, and know he was never truly forgotten. This is no longer just a story of pain, it's becoming a story of justice. Let's take a deeper look at the two very different worlds Deshawn could grow up in, because the contrast is not just clear, it's alarming. One side you have Stephanie and Drew. They don't have jobs, they don't have a stable home, they've moved from one motel to another, always living on the edge of eviction without any certainty of where they'll be next week. Deshawn sleeps in a one-room space with 6 other people. There's no routine, no personal space, no time to unwind, study, or even just play. He doesn't have his own bed, let alone a scene of stability, his privacy non-existent, his emotional safety questionable at best. This isn't just inconvenient, it's dramatic. It's a world where Deshawn is constantly adapting, constantly surviving, but never truly thriving. On the other side, you have Desiree. She has a full-time job, a source of steady income. She's built a life that includes a stable apartment with 3 bedrooms. That means Deshawn would have his own room, a door he can close, a bed that's just for him, a space that's his. He would live in a home with structure, a place where dinner happens around the same time every night, where he can keep his clothes in a dresser, and where his mother tucks him in with love and reassurance. More importantly, Desiree is emotionally ready. She's been fighting for 3 years to be part of her son's life again. That's not the behavior of someone who gave up. That's the strength of a mother who's never stopped loving her child. And now that she's stable, she's not only willing to take him in, she's prepared to give him the life he deserves, one filled with affection, safety, and consistency. The difference between the two options isn't just material, it's emotional and it's psychological. One environment forces Deshawn to suppress his feelings, to fight for attention, and to constantly wonder if he matters. The other would allow him to grow, feel valued, and to know that he is loved deeply and unconditionally. The difference is more than clear. One world is filled with chaos, noise, and uncertainty. The other is built on care, love, and desire to do better. And when it comes to children, when it comes to Deshawn, there shouldn't be even a question about which is right. Let's not overlook the hypocrisy. Stephanie keeps judging Desiree for her past, but let's not forget Stephanie also has a history. She struggled with substance use. She went to rehab. So did Drew. And now they say they have changed, that they deserve to be parents. So why can't Desiree get the same chance? Why is her healing story ignored? It's because this isn't about Deshawn's well-being, it's about power and maybe even the benefits. More kids often mean more government support. Is Deshawn being used for that? We can't say for sure, but the timing and the behavior are hard to ignore. There's a court date coming, a hearing that could decide Deshawn's future, even if it begins with small steps, supervised visits, short stays. It's a start. It's something. And most importantly, it's a chance for Deshawn to feel his mother's love again. We're hopeful, and we know many of you watching this are too. So now we ask you, what do you think? Should Desiree win this case? Should Deshawn be allowed to see his mother again? Or is Stephanie truly fighting for his best interest? Let us know in the comments, share your thoughts, and please like and subscribe. Stay updated. Because this isn't just about Deshawn. It's about every child who's been silenced, every parent who's been wrongly pushed away, every household where love is supposed to live, but pain is what stays. Deshawn deserves more. Let's not forget,